respond to some of the issues.
We'll now cross over to Owerri, the Imo State capital, to bring you live proceedings from a World Press Conference addressed by the Mazi organization. Please stay with us.
Okay. Yeah, distinguished gentlemen of the press, this is a test conference by the Mazi organization, TMO, on the intimidation, blackmail, malicious falsehood, and desperate attempt to eliminate Dr. Chima Matthew Amade by the Governor Hope Uzodinma-led administration. Today, 16th September 2025. Gentlemen of the press, we warmly welcome you to this very important press conference called to alert Nigerians on the dangerous dimension governance has taken in our dear state, Imo. The Mazi organization, TMO, has considered it imperative to address this press conference in reaction to latest malicious falsehood orchestrated by the Governor Hope Uzodinma's administration under the guise of Greater Imo Initiative, a special purpose vehicle created to hunt individuals and groups who hold opposing views on issues of governance. As it is evident, the hatchet job was not only poorly scripted, but it was clearly exposed that it was commissioned by the panic-stricken Uzodinma's government. This attempt to divert public attention from the burning issues of accountability in local government allocation is not only infantile, but a gimmick to deceive Ndimo, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Nigerians in general. The resort to unleash this ragtag prosy group to spew wild lies, malicious propaganda, and laughable conspiracy theories involving courts, money ritual, INEC ballot printing, and imaginary offenses is an embarrassing descent in Imo political buffoonery. Let us be clear. Although this attempt by this administration was an insult-ridden drivel, we will not under any guise be dragged into that show of shame with an inept administration, because we hold the office of the governor of Imo State in high esteem, even though the current occupant does everything to demean and disrespect such position of trust. This press conference is sequel to our emergency meeting convened to deliberate the recent unfortunate, utterly disgusting, panic-driven, malicious falsehood, and a show of shame on Arise TV News by the said Greater Imo Initiative, and also the general state of the state. In this regard, we have resolved, without further delay, to declare a state of emergency in Imo. This development is necessitated by the urgent need to redeem our state from the colossal mafias and maladministration that now threaten its very survival. For clarity purpose, TMO is a coalition of patriotic sons and daughters of Imo State, united in truth, guided by conscience, and committed to the accountability for the greater good of our dear state, Imo. Our only allegiance is to the people of Imo State, the Nigerian state, and the God of justice. It is within this spirit that we alert Nigerians on the renewed desperation of Governor Uzodinma and his agent to silence Dr. Chima Matthew Amade, a patriot, an intellectual, and a vocal advocate for transparency and good governance. Credible reports reveal that some individuals who appeared in their stage-managed video were not even from Imo State, but imported from neighboring states. Indeed, some of those initially recruited for the charity from our state rejected the script handed over to them by agents of the state government upon realizing that the lies and misrepresentation it contained. For those who may be wondering the offense committed by Dr. Chima Matthew Amade to warrant such assault on his person, his only crime is daring to align with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in demanding the release of constitutionally guaranteed local government funds to our LGAs. In line with the judgment of the Supreme Court, available record shows that for almost 6 years, Governor Hope Uzodinma has cornered these funds while 27 local government area runs. According to statistics, the Federal Ministry of Finance, between 2020 to date, over 300 billion has accrued to Imo LGAs, yet the local government secretariats are overgrown with wings, While not even one local government can boast of a single functional project. Where has the money gone? Only Governor Hope Uzodinma can provide answer. In his desperation, Governor Uzodinma, through his media aides, had mocked Dr. Chimamadi as Alhaji without a village. He has procured standby Rakta groups to malign his integrity, sponsor petitions against him, and even issue direct threats on his life for daring to ask legitimate questions. Yet, Dr. Madian has refused to be provoked, choosing to remain focused on issues, believing that God Almighty will vindicate him soon. We wish to let Nigerians know that the heightened obsession to silence Dr. Madi stems from his thought-provoking lecture delivered recently as a keynote speaker at the annual conference of the Catholic Men Organization at Maria Assumpta Cathedral, Owerri. We quote him inter alia. Let us consider Imo State, our beloved state. By many measures, we are blessed. With industrious people, rich culture, substantial financial resources. Despite the hardship we see, Imo LGA have received massive allocations in recent years from FAC. Money has been flowing. The question is, why has it not translated to better lives for ordinary people? This is the prophetic burden we must address, exposing the gap between resources given and result on the ground, unquote. He then laid bare the shocking figures. Between 2020 to 2025, the 27 local governments in Imo State has collectively received over 330 billion in federal allocation. Mbitoli alone has received about 15.63 billion. Even Ikeduru, the lowest, received 10.75 billion. Yet, across the state, schools, health centers, sports facilities, and roads remain in scandalous decay. That truth, backed by data, is what has unsettled Governor Hope Uzodinma and his administration. We wish to state categorically that we endorse in totality the position of Dr. Madian and indeed insist that every kobo that has accrued to Imo State since 2020 must be accounted for. The disappearance of FAC allocations, ecological funds, including intervention funds from international partners like WHO, USDA, USAID, and WASH, is too monumental to be swept under the carpet. We ask again, what is the wrongdoing in assisting indigent families? Why is the Imo State government intimidated and desperate to criminalize humanitarian efforts instead of commending the benefactor? Does it imply that Governor Hope Uzodinma is not saddled with more important state matters that he is so disturbed by an innocent outreach? Fortunately, Nigerians know the man who converts Imo allocations into worth of US dollars and British pounds, distributing them at will to buy his way into political circles up there. Simply put, they are afraid of Chimamadi because he is the mirror reflecting their corruption back to them. If Imo State government disputes Dr. Madi's revelation, we challenge them again to publish detailed audited report of FAC receipts and expenditures backed by empirical data. Let them show what was done with over 330 billion received on behalf of the LGAs in Imo State and prove the existence of projects on ground. Silence, propaganda, and character assassination cannot wash away facts. Rather than recklessly calling on EFCC to arrest Dr. Chimamadi on false accusations of Naira abuse, we issue a solemn demand to EFCC, other security agencies, and relevant authorities to conclude and also commence investigation on the following. 1. The Calabar dredging scandal, a $12 billion contract fraud through his company investigated by the Oblak panel. A due check case of 220 billion dishonored check referred to EFCC. Non-declaration of asset filed by the federal government before the recovery of public property panel. EFCC, ICPC, and the Nigerian police must immediately commence forensic investigation into the Hope Uzodinma's administration, particularly into the disappearance of local government allocations, UBEC funds, ecological funds, WASH, and USAID intervention funds. These monies meant for the development have grown wings and vanished into only Hope Uzodinma knows where, while Imo people wallow in poverty. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice must ensure that accountability processes are not stalled. Governor Uzodinma must not escape justice for the monumental looting and reckless mismanagement of public resources in Imo State. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must be vigilant. We warn that Hope Uzodinma, characteristic of his person, could be scheming a different agenda in 2027 and may undermine your interest again in pursuit of his voting ambition to become the Vice President or Senate President. Mr. President, please beware. We demand that Imo State House of Assembly publish the details of all those requests it has approved for this administration. The Assembly must rise in defense and solidarity with the people of Imo State at this very critical time in our history. The EFCC and ICPC should probe all those approved and unapproved that have been received by the Hope Uzodinma's administration. Very important. The cases mentioned above are well documented. If the so-called GII is truly interested in law and order and the good governance in Imo State, let them endorse the above demands while asking their paymaster on accountability. Importantly, we wish to use this medium to appeal to the federal government and security agencies to be vigilant on activities of Imo State government. Governor Hope Uzodinma's obsession with the security details attached to Dr. Made confirms the fears of a sinister plot. In addition to the threats on his life and integrity, the Imo State government has now resorted to weaponizing state institutions against Dr. Chimamanda Amade. Just a few days ago, through the Imo State Internal Revenue Services, a letter dated 12th August 2025, obviously backdated, and signed by its Executive Chairman, Prince Arokoi, the Imo State government issued a spurious demand for the payment of arrears of 17 million naira between 2019 to 2024 as income tax purportedly owed by our principal. Nigerians must, at this point, note the disturbing dimension those Uzodinma's administration is taking its expression to silence Dr. Chimamanda and other voices of reasoning in the state. This latest demand letter, coming alongside death threats from faceless groups, is not just tax, rather one of the sinister ploy to eliminate him by all means necessary. We must emphasize that even the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria expose this charity for what it is, blackmail. Section 2 of the Personal Income Tax Act 2011, as amended, provides, and I quote, in the case of an individual other than an itinerant worker and persons covered under this section 1B of this section, tax for any year of assessment may be collected only by states in which the individual is deemed to be resident for that year under the provision of the first schedule of this act, unquote. The government's second letter, dated September 4th, specifically referenced personal income tax liability, yet by all subsisting laws, Dr. Amade's residency during the period under review was not in Imo State. Therefore, Imo State government has no jurisdiction to demand such payments. For the avoidance of that, the Act only permits states to collect tax from an itinerant worker defined as one who works in more than one state in Nigeria for a minimum of 20 days and in at least 3 months of every assessment year with no fixed or principal place of residence. Dr. Mari does not fall into this category. In fact, a judgment of the Court of Appeal in 2020 further clarified that even when an individual works in one state and resides in another, the obligation to pay personal income tax is to the state of residence and not the state of work. This makes it abundantly clear that the so-called tax demand is not only malicious but illegal, and indeed crude attempt at intimidation and character assassination dressed up as fiscal compliance. Imo State government must be told in unmistakable terms that citizens have no obligation to obey unconstitutional orders or demands that breach extant laws and the Constitution of Nigeria. We therefore task all patriotic Imolites, Democrats, lovers of Imo, civil society organizations and pro-democracy groups to rise and resist these illegalities. This battle is not about one man, but about defending the truth, justice, and the sanctity of our laws. We remind Nigerians of the killings, arson, and assassination attempt on Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, a rep member, Idato Federal Constituency in 2021, a vocal democracy and right activist at his village residence in Akokwa, Idato LGA of Imo State. Which remain unresolved. Should there be any attempt or any harm on Dr. Chimamade or his associates, Governor Hope Uzodimma must be held solely responsible. His administration is notorious for violent activities. We wish also to dismiss as childish and laughable the governor's claim that Dr. Amade drops the president's name. If anyone is notorious for name dropping, it is Governor Hope Uzodimma himself, who is notorious and had indeed thrived under late President Mohamed Buhari through sycophancy and name dropping until he met his Waterloo under President Tinubu, who is alert and has zero tolerance for such antics. Equally ridiculous are accusations of courtesy. If caring for the poor makes Dr. Chimamade a member of a court, we then appeal to Governor Hope Uzodimma to join the court of compassion and humanity in the interest of the suffering masses in Imo State. It is on record that Governor Hope Uzodimma strives on blackmail, hence his deliberate plot to use Dr. Amade as a bet to malign and cast aspersions on the person of Professor Mahmood Yakubu, Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, and the integrity of our electoral system must be condemned by all Nigerians. We wish to state categorically that Governor Uzodimma consciously and intentionally targeted Professor Yakubu for reasons best known to him. Therefore, hiding under Dr. Amade to perpetuate his unfortunate allegation is the height of cowardice. This unprovoked attack on Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who has earned his reputation through painstaking, patriotic trajectory both as a scholar and public officer, presiding one of the nation's most sensitive organizations, must be condemned. President Tinubu must call Hope Uzodimma to order. Consequently, we demand a retraction and an unreserved apology from the state government to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and Nigerians at large for this unfortunate blackmail on our collective sensibilities. Fortunately, Nigerians know Governor Hope Uzodimma's history with electoral haste, and therefore must not forget his dark record of alleged electoral compromise, mostly notorious, the 2021 Amma Magic scandal, exposed by whistleblowers and Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere. This same man now posture as a defender of morality. Nigerians are not deceived. Gentlemen of the press, we wish to express profound gratitude to the people of Imo State for their unwavering prayers and support for Dr. Amade and other patriotic voices in the face of desperate propaganda and intimidation. Your courage has been the shield that protects truth from being buried. We urge you to continue standing firm, united, and prayerful. We also call on all Imo stakeholders across political, religious, and professional lines to rally round the cause of accountability. This is not about party or parochial interest. This is about rescuing Imo State on the edge of collapse. In conclusion, may we remind everyone that Governor Hope Uzodimma is the last person who should lecture us on morality and legality. His record is in the public, and therefore he should desist from attempts to pull wool in the eyes of intelligent Nigerians, especially Imolites. Same man under whose watch, as absentee governor, the sacred grounds of Assumpta Cathedral was nearly desecrated by hired urchins under the guise of protest. Imo has endured enough. The homophagy must stop. The looting must end. Truth must prevail. The Egyptians you see today, we pray you shall see them no more. We urge our principal, Dr. Chimamade, and other good governance advocates and lovers of democracy, irrespective of these attacks, to remain unbowed to lead the march of accountability and good governance. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live Imo State. Long live TMO. Thank you, and God bless you. How many persons? One or two or three? Okay, like I told you, we have been receiving calls, even myself, every significant member of TMO has been receiving calls and from faceless groups. And in fact, the other day, they were calling and saying that they are members of these people, they are in the bush. So we know that all those calls are not just ordinary, they are not coincident. Some people must have been trailing us, and but we are not shy, we are not bothered, we are not perturbed, because we will continue to do the right thing. And what are we saying? We are saying the truth, and we will continue to hold the government accountable here in the state. The question, I think we have come to the end of this. But a word of appreciation to my colleagues, the men that make this happen. We appreciate you people for standing their ground. We appreciate people for doing what we call balanced journalism professionally, the way it's supposed to be. And we are also not unaware of the fact that our government has used every manner of intimidation to suppress free speech and freedom of press. But we continue to urge people to remain resolute and align with the professionalities of the job, to always speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you, and God bless you.
That was the live coverage of the Mazi organization's World Press Conference from Owerri, Imo State.